What's up, guys? Tim in the North back with another AoE 2 match. Today we are on Arabia. My opponent is Mull playing as the Saracens. Saracens are a civ that I'm not super familiar with playing against, so I don't really know what to expect going into this. So not well rounded on all the perks that each civ gets, so I usually know what to expect for some, but not sure what to expect here. But yeah, my opponent is pushing in his Guanaco in in early. I found mine as well, so just a little bit behind my opponent here. We do have some different animals here. Happy Capybara is the animal we start out with. Some kind of a weird click here. I think I was trying to stop the Vils from savaging and ripping this guy apart just yet to get over here, and I clicked everybody, including the Capybara, and he's running away now. So but yeah, this was a fun match. It should be an interesting one. Okay, so lumber camp here for my opponents. This is one thing I'm gonna miss when I swap out from the Georgians, is I'm gonna have to deal with lumber camps again, not being able to move those around. But yeah, opponent brings in a boar, pretty clean. I'm bringing a boar too. I'm just behind what my opponent is doing here. I have 3 on the hunt here. Yeah, this is some spoilage that's gonna happen, but it's all right. So it's okay. Opponent, where's the scout out here? Where'd our scout go? Oh, right here. So I think they went to scout my base a little bit. Didn't keep pushing the hunt in. It's a lot of food. 420. Obviously, some of this decays, so it's not exactly 420 that you'll get, but yeah. I mean, unless the Saracens are one of those civs that have no spoilage, but I don't think they are. Almost finished with my first. No, I've actually still got a ways to go on this boar. I do have my second boar still hanging out here. Second boar being brought in by my opponents, and I'm bringing my second boar in. So literally just right behind what my opponent's doing. We're both. I am at 90%. My opponents fell off a little bit here. Probably this one getting clicked out. This guy's sitting here. All right, so that's where that efficiency has fallen off. It'll dip a little bit more. But yeah, I have finished pushing in my hunt. I'm not a big fan of this base. I have forward berries, I have forward gold, and the stone is not really. It's on the side of my base, not behind it. I can wall here, but it's not terrible stone. But yeah, very open in the front. Not a fan of this generation. My opponent also very open in the front. At least they have something here. Their gold is in the back, and the berries are similar to my stone positioning. So pushing in the last. No, they have one more hunt sitting out here. All right, we've both clicked up to feudal age. I am slightly ahead of my opponent right now. I'm moving to gold to get man-at-arms out. I am trying to get the barracks down. I have not scouted my. Sorry to give everybody a seizure there. Just wanted to see where my scouting. Yeah, I have not scouted my opponent just yet. So, opponent runs into the base with his scout and just stands there. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna take the freebie. Gets away with 3 HP. I have not spotted my opponent yet. I'm right there. I can't see the yellow line. That's part of capture age right now. So unfortunate that I was not able to identify. At least I didn't run into the town center. So I've done that plenty of times. I still have 2 of my starting animals out here. Sorry again. I think my opponent has 2 of them sitting out here too. There was a lot of food close to the base, so I think that's why this ended up happening to both of us. We ended up pushing our hunt in early. Opponent gets up to Castle Age, Feudal Age just behind me. A little bit of a longer idle TC time by my opponents. Sitting both around 80% for our efficiency. I have 4 militia coming out. They will be turning into man-at-arms hopefully soon. I am waiting on 20 more gold, I think it is, to have the 40 there. Oh, yeah, so this is something I've been trying to do a little bit more too, as I've climbed a little bit higher in Elo. Obviously, the reaction here is, kill the scout with the town center, but when you're on the perimeter of the range for the town center, you can't really hit, so it's kind of worth making that efficiency drop for your opponent. Yeah, just kind of what I've been doing a little bit more of. But scouts here, there's a spearman that's out. I send the man-at-arms over this way. We'll see if we can get a kill. Nope. 10 HP. The scout I ran around to the back of the base. Vills are still in the town center. My opponent is, kind of frantic here. And we got a Vill kill. Let's go. Just trying to do my perspective here. Obviously, worker efficiency's dropped off. I've also, idle TC time for my opponent is also starting to skyrocket here. They don't have the food currently. They have one farm that's operating. It looks like most of the food probably went into generating scouts. So I'm trying to bring my scout over here to get some help to kill my opponent's scouts. And okay, I do see the range going up at this point, so I will kind of want to get my man-at-arms on there to see if they can knock this down. My opponent also has a scout back here. This is the scout we hit earlier with the town center. So, yeah, just trying to kite things around a little bit. I'm going to bring this back to my town center if possible. I have reacted to my opponent's range by adding a range myself. Spearman comes around. There's a lot happening right here. Run into the town center and take these guys out. All right, so 2 scouts down. My opponent now has an archer out, and I pull the man-at-arms back just because this is not a suitable matchup being right that close to the town center with man-at-arms, and I did not patrol this. I right-click. So, snitch. Opponent has his wood line over here. Slowly, building these farms out. 12. My economy is probably my economy is a disaster right now. I get too focused on, being aggressive, and I literally had 12 Vills just chilling over here on berries, and now I don't have enough wood to make farms. I also don't have enough to build anything over here to make these guys chop wood. So I am struggling with my economy, and now you see I'm down to 46 worker efficiency. So yikes. I do have a Vill lead, though, so that's going to help me out for a little while until this balances back out. My opponent is back on the berries. They have a much more balanced economy than I do right now. I have 20-some on wood. I'm trying to get houses up because I'm now pop capped, and just an absolute mess here. I do have a little bit of a military, and I'm like, you know what? Since I'm trying to stabilize back at home, let me see if I can go just disrupt my opponent just a little bit more and see what we can do here. My opponent's also starting to come forward with, I guess, just to scout the area, and now the archers react. So we're about to engage in more combat here. I want to go for the wood line. I was like, there wasn't too much more I could do over here. and now a house is up along with a palisade wall. My opponent has a better military here, in my opinion. 3 archers, some skirms, so can easily reach across here. I'm trying to click this guy around. He keeps wanting to run into the town center on me. I do get most of the archers. Do I get this? Yep, I got all the archers. So this house here is getting beat up pretty bad. Earlier I did grab arson. I didn't call that out, but I did grab it. I am floating over 1,000 wood here now. I think I just put some farms down. I think I just saw that in game, and you know, I'm calling it out now. So my economy is going to balance out a little bit here. These vills are repairing, and I'm just gonna pull this back. I'm gonna add another range. With all the wood that I had, I still have 800. I'm spending more. Trying to just, you know, level this out a little bit. So a little bit of a disruption there. I still have a Vill lead currently. Military is about even. And my opponent is just trying to make sure I can't come back through here, as they've walled up the back and now the side. So the only way through is underneath the town center. I think I'm just trying to scout a little bit more of the area. Yeah, I'm just trying to get more visibility on what's going on here. I still have 2 of my animals here. My opponent also pulled these 2 back. Obviously, it's more effort to kind of kill these and remember to put these guys back on farm, so but opted to do it. 20 farms for my opponent. They've also clicked up to Castle Age now. I'm still trying to hit the food threshold. I am just under by almost a little over 100. It keeps changing. I'm not going to read a number out. I do have a point lead currently. Efficiency is pretty rough on both of us. My opponent did have a lot more idle TC time. I think this was because, you know, there wasn't enough on food, and a lot of food was spent on some of the scouts. And I currently have a lead in res collected. So, a lot on gold here. My opponent is likely opting for more archers. As we see, 2 more are in the queue. And just short on wood. So, opponent finished berries. The Vills came over here to chop wood and sealing that hole off, so they, you know, now that they're back. So things are tightened up over here on my opponent's base. The back of my base is still pretty exposed. I've stopped walling at this point. When I remember 1 second. Okay, I remember clicking up the Castle Age and saying, you know, I have a lot of farms out. I could probably go knights. So I wanted to pivot over to this, unaware of what my opponents could make. I did not know that Saracens could make camels. So that is why 2 stables are going down. So kind of a mistake coming in on my part here. Again, like I said, not super familiar with all the civs just yet. But I'm aware that this army exists, so I'm pulling things back. I've also decided to set the rally points to inside the archery ranges for myself. I don't want to pull this back here to expose this just yet, because I'm trying to put a town center down. So I pull the Vill over here, and I sacrifice my man-at-arms. Also, we now have possession of our animals. My opponent, I was curious where my opponent, I guess you just walk straight back with this. My opponent is deciding to go for more of like an all-in here. It seems no town center was dropped. And we're dropping a monastery. I usually like to try and boom a little bit more. It's just kind of what I'm more comfortable with. The knight situation isn't working out as great as I had hoped. I ended up putting more. I had to get elite skirm to deal with the crossbow. Excuse me. And I'm dropping another town center behind this wood line over here. And pulling these guys back. Is there a hole there? Are they gonna? No, they're walking around. I set them to under this town center, I think it was. My opponent is dropping a second town center. Okay, so a second town center did come down, and they are grabbing the upgrade for cavalry. So yeah, they're putting their money into countering knights. So I don't really know how to, I guess, naturally react to camel riders. I guess, you know, you want to go, I guess you should just go like spear, pike, and halberdier or whatever, but it's so tough. Like, I don't know what you should make the gold unit, because like then I guess you go crossbowman. So that's why I sometimes I just struggle with how to pivot my military when camels show up on the field. So my army got cleaned up there. Like I said, wasn't really expecting to see camels, and I know that I sent the knights forward or whatever. I wanted to deal with the crossbowmen, but yeah. So in a little bit of trouble here. I thought I had clicked this guy out, but I didn't. I set the rally point out here, but I didn't release this guy from the archery range. So just a little bit of resistance here, and my opponent's going to pull back and take this building out. I'm sure he sees this flag, and he's going to drop a forward siege workshop. 3 vills coming over to help build that. My opponent does have a monk out here. Oh, he just came out. Probably going to play the relics now. I've decided to drop a fortified church here. This will help my economy a little bit. Also, I want to get monks out to see if I can convert some of the camel riders. I pulled these guys out. They were sitting in the stable there, and rather than having them fight and just die immediately, I pulled them off to the side to see if they could just do something over here. So that's why they're running out. 5 on gold. Really should probably have 2 or 3 more. We killed the jaguar or cougar that was over here, and yeah, so I have some pressure in the front of my base right now. It's kind of frustrating. These vills are just chilling here because I'm busy clicking things around. We have vills on wood and farms over here. Eventually these guys will move. Tanking my worker efficiency right now by just doing nothing. And they drop a siege workshop. So my thoughts here are right now is that I have to just protect this as long as I can until I can get a castle down. And here comes a Mangonel. I still have these units around over here. I clicked somewhere in here to see if that opening was still there. I didn't know, you know, in game that wall was patched up. So I'm going to drop a castle here. I'm also going to put a house here because I don't want these guys getting through this palisade gate and just raiding through my base. Trying to micro the elite skirms against this Mangonel here, just to try and buy time for the castle. Palisade gate goes down, and my opponent pulls back, seeing they can't get through. So we have successfully defended against this. My knight got in here, which forces my opponent, or should force my opponent to look back here. I think he got 2 kills, so he's done some work. And he's gonna get another vill. I think that's the max we're gonna get out of him. I think a camel comes back and takes care of him. My opponent, yeah, dropping a town center here. I decided to click around to see if I can get more value. Oh, he snipes one last vill. Okay, so idle TC time is pretty bad for both of us, up to over 12 minutes. My opponent is trying to position himself on a different part of my base because of the castle that just went up here. 2 mangonels, 1 monk, and a ram. This is going to be a lot of pressure. I did not realize this opening was here. My opponent just wants to take the building down, it seems, right now. My mangonel got hung up on the skirms. We traded mangonels. And unfortunately, my opponent has another mangonel, but I also now see the ram, so it would have been nice to have had the mangonel there to hit the ram. I am converting. Finally get it. And we're in disaster mode here. There's vills that got... Oh, we only got one vill? Let's go. So I pulled the vills out. They're in town centers. We're losing buildings to rams. I could not get this ram down. It's 4 HP. I literally could just click these guys and click on the ram, and it would kill them because I think it does one damage. But I'm running out of skirms. So what do I do now? I click up to Imperial Age. Obviously, I had the resources. I'm up to 70 some vills. My opponent's a little bit behind. You know, being 2 more minutes behind on idle TC time. My eco was a little bit better in terms of food, I guess, and how I was spending it. A lot of vills still idle here. The mangonels are a concern, and I know that if he finds this, I'm in trouble because this wood line is not very thick, and it's a perfect wall for him to hide behind while also, you know, firing on vills in my town center. So we're in trouble here. There's another mangonel coming out. My opponent is invested into Castle Age, and I clicked up to Imperial Age. I guess my thought is Cavalier. They have a little bit more resistance to arrows and crossbowmen, and should be a little bit more tankier to camels. And my military is just getting absolutely wrecked here. So my opponent is dropping another siege workshop. He's like, can I just kill this guy already? I still have a small point lead. I think it's just because I have more vills. Even with some being idle, I'm managing to maintain resources collected. But my worker efficiency has dropped below 50%, which is not good. So 3 town centers for my opponent, but really has invested a lot of resources into military here. These houses, this ends up becoming a problem, this blacksmith. I am trying to get forging and oh, sorry, my opponent was grabbing forging. I was looking at the wrong thing. I do end up having to make another blacksmith somewhere down here. My opponent is dropping a castle. Great position here. Probably could have gotten more work with the mangonel, but I'm dropping a castle on the other side of my base. At this point, I'm like, this town center is pretty much protected by a castle. This one is kind of exposed. It's not protected by castle fire, but you know, it protects the hole that would be over here. This side's blocked up, so I am trying to just amass enough military. Also, I grabbed conscription earlier. That's another thing that was in my mind, is that I probably don't have a shot at taking this out unless I can produce units very quickly and overwhelm my opponent. And that's kind of the engagement I took here. I took out, I think, 2 mangonels. I pulled the knights back. I got what I wanted out of that. Also trying to produce some light cav as well. With this castle up, these villas just have to leave, and we're going to build another town center down here. So it's open on this side, but you know, I have my units back here. Cavalier has come in, so we have an upgraded unit. I have my monks back here trying to heal up my units. So right now, there's not a ton my opponent can do with the castles that are here, and this town center is just, you know, it's wiped. I set the rally point somewhere back here, so I could still make vills, but yeah. I want to get this castle down if I can save this town center. Obviously, my opponent has enough to run, and this isn't under, you know, protection of a castle, so it's not as safe as it would be. I wanted to see what, if I would get a reaction. He went for it. So I set my trebs back here. I want to get more than one. My opponent's clicked his entire army, and that monk was still targeting this knight up here. So I'm trying to move some of my military up here. I'm trying to get the trebs into a different position if I can. Still producing Cavalier. I have a lot on gold. I was also struggling with economy here. My opponent is trying to expand. Has gone all in essentially with Castle Age here. Moving forward with more castles. And these vills have run out of gold now. So we have a bunch of vills that are going to be idle in a second here. I'm trying to move vills around to farms, trying to get more farms back here because I have my military back up here. I've used this treb. I have this military here to try and protect this. This is a bit of an investment that my opponent's going to have to eat here. I have more military. I know my opponent has the counter, but I have the numbers. Unfortunately, I don't have the upgrades. So I'm probably eating more than I needed to. There's a monk here that could have gotten involved. I also had, this is the blacksmith that I needed to build because the one up front got lost. I'm going to throw these. Am I going to throw these units? But I did lose a second treb, which is not great. And Mangonel is going to go down. So I decided, you know, if my opponent wants to sit up here, I'm going to have to make him pull his army back. So I selected all of my military, and I'm trying to go and raid my opponent's economy. I seen that there were some units here, and I was like, you know what? Again, he doesn't have the numbers. If I can just kill some things here, I probably help myself in the long run. I do have some of the hussars now trying to move forward to get some raids in. I think I meant to click the vill and I clicked the building. So still just trying to pull back and kill what I can here in terms of my opponent's economy. I have a treb up, but my opponent now does not have the military to fight this treb. So decided to kind of split my military here a little bit, apply pressure while also trying to clean up my base. I think I have a second treb. Oh my god, there's so many idle vills. 55. My opponent's down to 30 worker efficiency because he's pulled back a lot of units here. I've opted to kill the vills here. I know it's not great to fight under a town center, but these guys do tank arrows pretty well, and there's free vills here. So I'm getting eco kills. These Cavalier are going to find these vills running in. I have these hussars. These will get mopped up real fast against the camel riders, but this castle is down. These military units were in the castle. My opponent's more focused back here. And again, my thought is slow the eco down as much as I can, while keep in mind boom. This is not as great of a fight for me. There are more camels here now, so it's tough for me to actually take this engagement. But my thought is you know, I have all my buildings still producing units. I've done my eco damage. If I can possibly win that, and I did, I won that fight. I still have some military left here. My opponent is trying to get vills back to work and on stone. I think when I selected these guys, it had the elite skirm in there, so that's why everybody's moving so slow. Did pull off of that. I had some Cavalier here, and I found more Vills. I found more Vills. These guys are coming back from the castle over here. I set a rally point over here, I think, for my stables. And this is quite the back and forth. Opponent is just dropping castles everywhere. So these vills got delayed a little bit because I had units on the plot of land, but I am my military here is dwindling, the numbers that I had. I've made my damage though with the eco kills. I would say up to 30 some vills. We have 104 vills to 66. But my opponent still has the counter. So as my gold reserves have been spent, I've moved to this gold here. And I think that's the only gold that I have at the moment. I have also opted for pikemen, and I'm trying to grab their upgrades as well, so I can protect the trebs. This castle just went down. This castle got rejected. I'm pulling these trebs back because this one's gonna go down. So what looked really good a second ago is now a little bit less stable. I have a blast furnace coming in. My opponent's economy is probably more diverse than mine is right now, just because they have more on gold here. They have gold here. They still have a little bit of gold there. I think the biggest issue too is they've stopped making bills. Another castle. So some crossbowmen. I think the biggest issue here is my opponent is using double gold units, so they're never going to get to Imperial Age here. They keep buying more gold units. So lost my mule cart there. I am trying to get some pikemen. Upgrade the halberdier now. I'm trying to mass more of my hussars. 50 some on food is really good. I'll be able to spam pretty well, but for me, wood is becoming a little bit of a problem. This is the town center that I lost to the castle. I did send Vills back up here with a mill. Probably would have been better to have dropped another town center here so they had protection. I had the stone for it, but opted for a mule cart on this wood. So I know these are out here, and I've decided to send the hussars out again to see if I can slow my opponent's economy just enough. And I have the halberdiers out here to try and protect the trebs. So we're exploring again. This is not a fight that I want, so I think I clicked and then realized that they weren't going to keep going. And I've sent these Cavalier under the castle to take out these Vills. I know that I've done gotten a lot of kills on Vills, so I'm like, if I could just keep that pressure going on Vills, surely it'll cripple anything that my opponent can do for the long term. Treb's still working this castle. This castle is going to go down. I had these guys parked under the castle because I knew more Vills were in there. And I have enough halbs to protect these trebs to move forward with those trebs now. So still trying to just get some work here on Vills. My opponent still has quite the army. my opponent is now a pikeman out there. So getting double countered here with gold units and trash units. A lot of military built up over here. This part of my economy is exposed, but I'm not worried about it because I have enough attention being drawn, I guess. Also, I have raids here with the Hussars in the back. I don't think my opponent realized this. Obviously, the castles will do some protection, but trying to just march forward here. My opponent is trying to pull some military back. Military numbers have significantly dropped off. Trying to get more archery ranges down. But we have done enough damage to yeah. All these guys are sitting here. This is a lot of vills sitting there idle. Obviously my focus was in other areas. I clicked this somewhere. But yeah. Just a matter of time before the GG comes in. I am pop capped at this point. My opponent is probably going to push a little bit more here to see if he can get the trebs, and then realize he was surrounded. But yeah, this is a fun one. I almost tapped out pretty early with the mangonels coming into my base. A lot of pressure early on, but managed to lock in and push through. This was a good match. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hats off to Mole. Great game. A lot of pressure early on that they managed to deal with well, and then were able to return that pressure. So yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. For now, feel free to like, comment, consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed to the channel. I'll catch you on the next siege. Peace!